Welcome back, Leveling Up Nation. It is your success story strategist and host, Brigham.
Taking 100% responsibility. If she takes 100% responsibility for everything in our marriage, and I also take 100% responsibility for everything in our marriage, then we have a 200% marriage.
Faintest of ink is better than the brightest memory.
Life is so busy. Our calendars are full. There's so much that needs to get done, but really take a moment and just let those moments.
Welcome back, Leveling Up Nation. It is your success story strategist and host, Brigham Blackham. I am so blessed today to have my friends Craig and Meredith again on the podcast. If you haven't heard from them again, you guys are missing out. They are wonderful. Today, we're going to be talking about how we can gift our relationships with not just a few skills, but we have 4 amazing principles for you that we're going to expand upon. We're going to talk about how they have been able to take some of these ideas in their coaching practice and been able to make it so valuable that they're saving marriages, guys. It's so awesome. But it's not just a relationship with those romantic relationships. It's actually every relationship that you're in, you can use these skills. So I'm so excited to have them. They're also Infinity coaches with me. I love these guys. So grateful to have them on today. So let's welcome them to the call, guys. Woo! How you doing, guys?
Welcome. So good, Brigham. We're so excited to be here.
Pumped to be here. And I think everyone needs a hype man like Brigham.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back, guys.
Happy to be here.
Now we're going to start in. This is the idea of gifting your relationship. And guys, sneak peek. If you haven't gotten my ebook yet, 3 reasons stage fright costs and why you must fix it. This is one of the sections that will help you overcome stage fright. But we're going to be talking about this wrapped in the context of improving your relationships. So let's start off here. Give me the 30-second version of why you do what you do. Because we already know what you do with relationship coaching. Why do you do it though?
Because it's a cheat code for your whole life. When you're struggling in relationships, especially in your primary relationship, but really in any of them, you are dedicating so much time and energy and attention, like your biggest resources, on trying to fix what's going on. So you're spending lots of time avoiding arguments, in arguments, walking on eggshells, and that takes a lot of all of your resources. When this is working, or when the main relationship that you're focused on is working in your life, you both have all that time, energy, attention to redirect to the big goals and dreams you have in your life. Every other area of your life levels up when you dial this in. So it's a cheat code. That's why we do it.
I love it. It's a cheat code. That's the simplest way to say it. It's a cheat code, guys. And it's kind of like these ideas of the Clydesdales. If you have one Clydesdale, they can pull like 8,000 pounds. You got 2 Clydesdales together, they can pull like 20,000+ pounds. But if you're 2 Clydesdales and you're going in opposite directions, you're yoked together, guess how many pounds you can you can pull? Like almost 0, because you're going in opposite directions.
Yep.
So we're going to dive in with this idea of gift, not just gifting your relationships, but giving the gift of yourself. The first G is to give. Now, why is giving and taking so essential in a relationship? And what do you guys use with this as far as this principle in your coaching?
So this closely aligns with, so we talk about a 200% marriage. And so you're like, most people think marriage is 50-50. It's, there's 100 things that we need to do in this relationship. You take 50, I take 50. And what happens then is that who's 50, like who's 50% is this, who's 50% is that. And it breeds resentment and scorekeeping, defensiveness. Yeah. So the giving is giving everything that you have, giving all, taking 100% responsibility. If she takes 100% responsibility for everything in our marriage, and I also take 100% responsibility for everything in our marriage, then we have a 200% marriage, and it takes away the scorekeeping and that, no, this isn't my thing, this is her thing. And so I think giving is really about giving 100% and taking 100% responsibility for everything in the marriage.
It's because he's so right. Like the scorekeeping of like, well, we got in an argument and he needs to apologize to me, but there's probably something I could also apologize for, but I apologized first last time, which is scorekeeping. 100% accountability is there's something I know I need to apologize for. So I'm just going to take responsibility and I'm going to apologize for my part. Regardless of what he does, I'm owning my piece of it.
Yeah.
And when you can walk into a situation with any person you're in a relationship with and own your own stuff, giving them the benefit of the doubt, but also giving them your full responsibility, because it's easy to say, well, he doesn't share enough with me. He doesn't open up to me. 100% responsibility looks like, have I created the environment where he's comfortable to share that with me? Am I sharing that with him? So it's a level deeper than, he took out the garbage last time, I guess it's my turn this time. Like, it's, am I doing my part to be the person, to be the partner that I want to have?
Yeah, I think that's another one, is am I giving them the gift of being the partner that I want to have, that they need me to be?
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about this, guys. Mandarin gay ni is the idea of, here you go, or I'm going to give you this. Gay is to give, and then ni, not like this type of ni. Ni is in you. When you give someone of yourself and you allow them to be part of your world, it's not a 50%, a 70%. It's that 200% marriage. I love this. Last time we were on your podcast, I actually had this idea of, you've got a bridge, and if you only go 90% one way and your other person in the relationship goes 90% the other way, the bridge is still going to fall down.
Yep.
You have to both go 100%. And then when you're both in 100%, now you're building off of each other and there's extra stability. Think about like 1 2x4. You could break that relatively easily over a span of maybe 8 feet, but you put 2 together and you drill through those, they now become twice or 3 times as strong. That's how a great marriage is. If we have that give and take relationship, we're willing to help, but we're not scoreboarding because we're both going all in. Yep. It changes our dynamic. Do you guys have any like concrete examples of people where you help them go from 70 or 80 or even 99%, and they weren't fully committed, to now they're fully committed and making a huge shift?
Yeah, for sure. Several. One jumps to mind, and it was really around getting them into the frame of mind of they're on the same team. Like, you're a team, which means you both have different roles to play, which is sometimes where the team gets a little bit confused, because whose role is this? But it's like any good team, right? The quarterback has to pass the ball to someone. Everyone's got their own position on the team. If the quarterback's just throwing balls to quarterbacks, you're not going to win the game.
Right.
And so really adopting the mindset that we are teammates in this. We're a united front. We approach all of our issues, our obstacles, our celebrations. Everything is team first, as opposed to, well, that's a win for him and this is a win for me, or the one we just suggested, that I always apologize first, and when I do, and if I apologize first, he gets off scot-free. It's like, no one's getting off scot-free when you're on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So like it really is about teamwork, and when one person wins, the other person wins. I find a lot of times in our coaching, we see that there's almost like a zero-sum game sometimes. It's like, yeah, but competitiveness, competing with each other. But if they win, that means I lose. And it's just not the case in a marriage. When one person wins, you both win. Because think about it. If you're in a marriage and one person wins, and the expectation is it's like we're in it against each other, one person wins, that means the other person loses. And then where are we? We're combative. We're at odds with each other. Whereas if you take the mindset of team first, we're a team. Everything that happens in this team is a win for both of us. Yeah. That changes everything.
Absolutely. I love that. We are on the same team. And you think about it, if Michael Jordan was shooting the ball and then he misses, Dennis Rodman grabs it and he dunks it, you're like, they still scored.
Yeah.
It's because Michael missed the shot, which isn't super typical, but he took the shot. You're on the same team. And if you win, your teammate wins.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when we are together, it changes the dynamic than when we're trying to be combative, like you said. So thank you for that. Now we're going to go to this next section. I want to hear your take on this. This is the idea of having an indelible, like unforgettable experience, being able to anchor those magic moments. They sometimes happen in the most mundane ways, but those magic moments. I'm going to give you an example, and then I want you to think of an example where you've seen marriages be able to solidify these anchoring moments or these magic moments. A few weeks ago, my wife went to the Kappa retreat, and you were there, Meredith, right? She absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for connecting with her on that.
We had a great
realized, oh yeah, it was so good. That's our ladies group with the Final Percent Network. We realized the day that she left, I was told that she wasn't going to be pumping because we have a little baby. And that morning, it like hit me because I've got 4 kids. And she said, you know what? I'm not going to be pumping. I think this is the last time Ben's going to be able to nurse. And then I thought, oh, it's not the last time Ben's going to nurse only. It's the last of my kids that is going to be nursing. I don't think we're going to have more. And sometimes you have these moments in your life where you have to take those 3 or 4 minutes and just process that information. I sat down next to my wife. We had this magic moment. I nuzzled up next to my little boy while he was nursing and just scruffed his hair a little bit and just listened to him, even though my wife hates this word suckle. Like she's like, don't use that word. I hate that word. Like, that's the word. Cause my dad's a farmer and a pharmacist. And it's just the word. Okay. But listening to him, and then when he finished, like we just had this little moment where all of us were hugging each other, and it was so tender and sweet. And those moments are so fleeting, but that bonded me with my wife so much and my little boy. So I want you to think, what are some of those moments, maybe even in your own marriage, or that you've noticed in people's lives, and how have they been able to make them magical, make them indelible, just erasable, anchoring moments?
Well, one, I think that moment you described is so cool, Brigham. And the only way that you have that moment is that you're both present and you're both aware, right? Like if you're living in the past or you're living in the future and you're living in your to-do list, you're not even aware of that moment to make it an indelible moment. So like, I think right off the hop, that's amazing. Like being able to be so present that you get to have those moments. And then when you see the opportunity for them, actually leaning into them. Because it's one thing to be aware of it. It's the next thing to take the second step, which is to actually stay in the moment that you're aware of and make it mean something. So I think that's so cool. And what jumps to mind for me with this indelible impression, these magic moments, is that most of the time, it's the really tiny little things.
Yeah.
We think it's the big grand gestures. And I don't know if that's like rom-coms and pop culture have taught us that like it's the big promposal and all that kind of big grand gesture stuff, skywriting and it's really not. These moments that anchor and cement you together are the really tiny ones, the ones that you have to be present for, to find and to experience. And it's really, really little things like noticing when I'm having a down, like I had a down day last week, and he just walked out of the room and just without any word just gave me a hug, just because he knew I was having a hard day. And then we just went on about our day. But like that was a moment for me. And I had one with your wife at Kappa. We had an indelible moment, and that really cemented our relationship. Yeah. When we were doing an exercise together, we were both having a moment doing the exercise, and I just walked over and we were sitting beside each other, and I gave her a big hug, and we had a really relationship defining moment together because we were both super present with each other. And it wasn't a big grand gesture. It was just, hey, we both need a hug, and we just were present together in it together, and it cemented our relationship. That one moment is what I can point to. We had lots of cool experiences together where we built that bond, but that one moment, that was the spark for us. So I think it's about being present and not overlooking the little things, because the little things are the huge things.
Oh, the little things are the huge things. Bars right there. That's so good. Thanks, Meredith, for sharing. Craig, what about you? What comes top of mind?
Well, we recently just with a client, they were talking about some stuff they were going through and how they're making some changes in their relationship,
being team first,
and how they're just showing up differently now. And, just acknowledging something that they would never have acknowledged in the past, and just saying, I really appreciate you for doing that. And it's such a little thing, just making a small shift, showing the other person that how committed you are to this relationship, that you're willing to put your ego aside, make a change, and then the other person to acknowledge that change, to see that change in you, and to acknowledge
And
that
appreciate
and
it.
appreciate that. So I think appreciation goes a long way when you're talking about these indelible moments. When these little things happen, showing that appreciation really cements. You're going to remember that moment more when you have that feeling of, oh my, that really impacted. Like when I gave her that hug, she was really appreciative. Not that I was doing it for appreciation. I was doing it because I knew she was going through something. But by hearing her, how much it meant to her, it's going to reinforce that. Like next time there's something going on, I'm going to be even more in tune, even more in the moment, even more in that magic moment of anchoring something to make that an even bigger moment. And it kind of reminds me of, like, we've moved a couple times, but the first house that we actually bought together was a really important house for us.
Yeah.
And so the day we were leaving, we just kind of took a moment. We just sat on the front step and had a moment. We weren't there for that long. It wasn't that impactful in the grand scheme of our life, but it was the first for us. And it was impactful in a certain way for us. So we just took a moment and we sat on the front step the day we were packed up and ready to go.
House was empty.
Everything was empty. We were just sitting on the steps and we just had a moment. Yeah. We just had a moment and said, we weren't here long, but this place was really, really special for us. And so I think just having the presence and just taking that moment, like you talked about, when, life is so busy, our calendars are full, there's so much that needs to get done, but really take a moment and just let those moments happen and just soak them in, because they are so important. And life is so short. Like,
oh my goodness, it is.
Take in every moment you can.
It's ephemeral. It's fleeting. There's one thing that you said that I thought was so good. One of my favorite books. I know Greg doesn't like this book, but I love How to Win Friends and Influence People. So we don't agree on that one. But that's okay. He has this idea, Dale Carnegie. He says, you want to lavish people with praise and be hearty in your approbation, being very conscientious of how you praise people. You praise what you want repeated. You give them acknowledgement and say, you know what? I see you. I hear you. I feel you.
Yeah.
So important. I love the way you brought that up. And one of the other things, while we were talking about this indelible experience that we can create in those mundane moments or the fundane moments, which if we're going to quote Kayla Kimball, which I love that idea of having fun in the mundane, is there are these moments that if we don't write them down, if we don't record them, even if it's just in our memory, we miss them. So it's hao ji xing bu ru lan bi tou. The faintest of ink is better than the brightest memory. So take time to record it. Now, what we're doing, we're literally recording it with a video camera, these amazing experiences and these conversations that can change lives. But if you don't record it in some way, whether it's writing it down, you blogging about it, taking time to say, this was special to me, we will miss 100% of those things that we don't cherish. And eventually they will start to diminish and they won't be as special because we don't remember them and we forget. And it's so sad, because if we didn't take the time to write it down or document it, we miss it. Greg talks about this when we're talking about social media, writing our story. If you don't document your story, how do you know if you're being accurate in your presentations? You miss it out. You miss out on all those things. So are there any other ideas that popped up before we go to the next section?
Not for me.
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, excellent. This next one is actually something that happened to me when I was in Raging Red. This was a light bulb moment for me. It's called flipping the switch. You've heard lots of different people probably talk about this idea. I was first introduced to this idea almost 15 years ago by Meredith Webb. She talked about how life is relationship management. And whenever you walk into a room, whenever you're performing, people deserve to be with you. And we always have baggage. We always have things that we could bring in to a relationship, to a performance. But when you walk into a room, it's like taking off that backpack, setting it at the door and saying, I'm here with you right now. This is where we are. And flipping the switch is metaphorically allowing you to be your best, having that light pop on for you, and be willing to be 100% present. So flipping the switch is making something mean something by being fully present. So we're going to go even deeper on this. What pops to mind when you hear flipping the switch in a relationship? And I'm not talking about like flipping the switch and like blasting angry, because I mean, that's one way that you could flip the switch in the wrong. You're like, oh, that's the wrong switch. We need to switch that one up.
Yeah.
What comes to mind when you hear flip the switch?
Well, when you describe that, what comes to mind for me is, oh, I've lost it. It just flew out of my mind.
You flipped the wrong switch. It's okay.
While you're thinking of it, one thing that comes up for me is like we're all humans going through this human experience, right? Individuals going through life, and so we all have our things. Even when we're in a relationship, I've got individual things that I'm dealing with and that I'm working through. Mare does too. But when Meredith comes to me with something that she's struggling with and she needs my time and attention, it's my job as her husband and her support to put whatever's bothering me in that moment, just to put it on the back burner and give her space and give her, flip the switch and be present for her and allow her the opportunity to tell me whatever's going on with her. And if it's she wants me to problem solve with her, then to be there for her in that respect. If it's for me to just listen and be a shoulder for her, then it's for me to be in that role. Mm-hmm. So I think flipping the switch for me is really in your relationships is really about, to your point, taking off whatever it is that you're dealing with, leave it at the door, the baggage, leave it at the door, and be very present and focused on the other person and whatever it is that they need in that moment.
I love that, because we talked about this not that long ago on one of our podcasts, I think, or one that's coming out, that when your partner or when your person comes and shares something that's going on with them, what you're not allowed to do in that moment is like, well, yeah, but you know what's going on with me? And like
one-upmanship, you don't want that.
Right. And it's like, well, when do I get to share my stuff? Literally any other time. Like literally any other time. When they come to you with something, take your stuff off, be fully present. That was a great one. The one that came to mind for me, because I got it back, was when you're spending quality time with your person, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your best friend, whether it's your mom, whoever it is, be fully present. Like we all have super busy lives. Like we all have a to-do list of, like, I like to say we have that ticker always running in our brain of like all the things you need to do. And you got to remember this and remember that. And those ping pong balls, they're like banging around up there, and it can be very distracting. And when you've agreed to sit down to a meal or go for a walk or whatever it is with a person who's important to you, then you've agreed to be fully present for them. Because if you've agreed to do whatever it is you've agreed to do together, and you are running through that ticker and trying to plan how the rest of your day is going to go so you can make the most of the next 3 hours so you can get all your stuff done before you get home for the day, then you've denied the opportunity to connect with that person. You've missed an opportunity to be present and build a stronger connection with someone because you're too caught up in the email that you need to write, and you're trying to figure out the best words for that email. And that's what you're doing in your brain while they're telling what's going on with them. You're not present. So you've missed your chance with them.
Ooh, so good. That was bars as well. Well done. I love the visual of the ping pong balls bouncing around, because I play ping pong. I play pickleball, all that. Phenomenal. One of the things you said that I was like, oh my gosh, we might need to go there for just a second, is like, you just have to take your stuff off. And I was like, sometimes it's nice to just, take stuff off, and then you know what I'm talking about. You're like, and it's okay. You got to be intimate at sometimes, right? It's
100%. And that becomes more likely when you're present and you give the emotional validation and the emotional attention.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're not emotionally intimate, chances of being physically intimate drastically next to nil. I like nil. That's a great word. Nil. Yes. You're going to lay a goose egg, and there's not going to be a baby in it, because that's nothing happens.
Not how that works. Yeah.
Not how that works. Yeah. We did 2 and 2 did not go together now.
No.
That's good. All right. Well, here's one other thing. I had this funny idea in the shower while I was getting ready. And you're like, this is weird. So we're going to go there just for a second.
Yeah.
You've heard the idea of leaders are readers, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, what if we just add a B? Because my wife's name is B. Like, leaders are breeders. Yeah. I've got 4 kids. That tracks, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know where I'm going to use that, but I use it on the podcast. There you go.
There you go.
Random things that come into mind. You're like,
I can totally see it. Like, leaders are if you're a real leader, then you are breeding more leaders, right? Like,
I love that. You're breeding leaders, right?
Yeah.
Not with those leaders, not infidelity. We're talking about making sure you're
Yeah.
Correct.
Make sure.
Let's be very clear.
Monogamous. But the idea here is also cool because we also talk about making sure that you have duplication in what you're doing. You're able to share ideas. You get people pregnant with ideas and say, oh, wow, I can go and implement that. I can take this idea and make it something bigger, and it can build and build and build. So I hope today that we have helped you guys breed a little bit in your mind, some little thought babies, and you go out there and take action on them. All right. This next little thought baby is T for tailored. Okay. Now you probably noticed, oh, G is give. All right. I is like to be indelible, right? F is flip the switch. Now T for gift, right, is tailored. Now, when you have a message or a gift or something that you want to really package for someone, and you're very thoughtful in the way that you phrase it, you tailor that content, that is a sign of love and respect and honoring your partner. But if you say, hey, I heard this on a podcast, this is probably you, right? You're like, ooh, that wasn't tailored to me. What are you talking about? I'm saying don't project other relationships onto what you're doing. Tailor every single conversation to who you're speaking with and your audience. So let's talk about how you can do this in an intimate way with your partner, and then maybe even in a general sense, how you tailor your message or your connection, that relationship with an audience or other people as well. We'll start with the more intimate relationships, the romantic relationships. Go ahead.
This reminds me, just quick side note before we go into it. This reminds me of when I was a kid, I was watching an episode of The Simpsons, and Homer bought a gift for Marge. And he had a habit of doing this where every year he would buy her a gift, but he knew that she would never want the gift, and she would just give it to him. So he was always buying himself a gift
On her birthday.
Yeah, on her birthday. And so then it came to the point where there's this one particular year, it was a bowling ball with his finger holes in it, and he actually engraved it Homer before even giving it to her because he knew that she was going to give it to him, and that went as well as you can expect.
So not tailored.
Not tailored, the opposite, and it didn't go well.
Not tailored for her. It's like, oh, I'm going to use this bowling ball on you, my friend. Like,
Yeah.
nice, Marge.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a hilarious example. Thank you for that. I'm glad we went there.
Yeah, it just came to me. The Simpsons always teaching life lessons.
Life lessons. Usually the opposite of what we want to do, but that you can learn from people by saying, wow, I really don't want those results. How do I get there? Homer,
let's reverse engineer the
only of himself. The gift is for him. Yeah. So do the opposite of that, you'd be pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. But to your point, like tailoring a gift, like it's an act of love. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because in your intimate relationships, a lot of times you're presenting or you're telling yourself a story based on things from your past, like a relationship you have with yourself. And so you're giving them a gift that they don't actually want and honestly don't deserve. It's not really a gift. You're dealing with some stuff and you haven't dealt with it personally. And so that you're kind of giving that to them, and sometimes they take it, and that's what causes friction in your relationship. Whereas if you dealt with the internal stuff, the things that are going on with you, and then just focused on what was actually happening in this relationship, not what happened in your past or what happened with whoever this other person was that you're now projecting on this person, the relationship goes a lot better. And then there's also the responsibility of the other person. If they try to give you a gift that isn't for them, then we don't always have to accept every gift, right? You can just say that's not for me. Like whatever it is you're dealing with on a personal level, you go deal with that. I'm not accepting this gift that you're trying to give me. And when we can do that, and we both take responsibility, like I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm dealing with my personal stuff and not giving you that gift. And if I do make a mistake, because we're human beings and we all do, if I make a mistake and I do present you with something that isn't for you, like let's have that conversation of this is not what's happening here. This is yours. You need to go deal with that. But this relationship here, we're going to deal with something different.
I also think when I think about, I have two thoughts for this one, actually. One from an intimate relationship perspective, especially, is we all give and receive love in different ways, right? Like, and so if I want him to feel loved, I need to make sure I'm tailoring my approach, my content, my delivery in a way that he will feel it. If I just give love in the way I want to get it, which isn't necessarily the same way,
It's not going to land.
It's not going to land for him.
It's not going to land for me.
And so I need to be focused on how he best receive love. And if I want him to feel my love, I've got to give it in a way that he can feel it. So I need to know his love language.
We see it a lot of time, actually, is that, we couples where one person's love language is giving gifts, and they just lavish gifts, like physical gifts, like just lavish gifts on the other person. And the other person's like, I don't care about this. I don't want another thing of flowers or candy or whatever the thing is that they're getting. It's like, I just want you to appreciate the things that I do. I just want words of affirmation. I just want you to love on me. And
they're like, I am loving on you.
Yeah. And there's like this miscommunication. So tailoring the gifts, tailoring the delivery. So important.
And then the other thing that comes up, and I think it's applicable to every relationship, is one big gift we give each other is feedback and honesty and being willing to engage in difficult conversations. And I think tailoring your delivery to do that with kindness and grace and respect. Like, there's one thing, it's a very different thing to just be boldly honest and say exactly what's on your mind. That's not necessarily going to land the way you want it. You still need to be honest and deliver hard truth sometimes, but you can do it with kindness. You can deliver it in a way that's going to be received well by the other person. And I think that comes with, the better you know the other person, the better you can do that, because you've done some work with that. How you deliver things with me.
I do. Because I know that there's a certain approach that's not going to work for you. That, okay, it would work for me, but it's not going to work for you. So I'm going to adjust, and we're going to talk a little differently.
Right.
Okay. I have a story for you guys. Ready for this? This was fun. A few weeks ago, I was eating with chopsticks some Little Smokies with my daughter. Okay. And she loves Little Smokies. And we kept feeding each other. We had these chopsticks at the end of them. They had like these little hands, kind of dorky, but I'd give them like this, and she would, oh, thank you. And she would try and use her little chopsticks and feed me. It was adorable. But I was like, honey, you need to dip it in barbecue sauce first. She's like, okay. And she dipped the little smoky in barbecue sauce. Like, awesome. And I was like, you want barbecue sauce too? And I was about to dip it. And she's like, no, I don't want that. I was like, oh, all right. And I gave her little smoky without the barbecue sauce, and she was happy. And it reminded me, I was like, you know what? If I was not paying attention, if I didn't tailor that message to her, I would have just dipped it in barbecue sauce because that's what I wanted. But letting her eat that the way she wanted made her feel appreciated, seen, and heard. And it was so simple. It reminded me of this silly little expression, when you have to make those little corrections, like you said, and sometimes feedback is that gift. Tact is telling someone to go to hell in such a way that they actually look forward to the journey.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said that, but man, it's so true. If we can tell someone some really difficult things in such a way that we're kind, we really show forth that we care about them enough that we're like, hey, I noticed this. I don't know if this is the way you were appearing, but this is what I'm receiving from your experience. Is that what you intended? Having those types of crucial conversations, especially with your loved ones, that means that you care. And if we come back to what Marilee taught me, it's the idea that life is relationship management. That doesn't mean your relationship is always perfect.
Right.
Management is messy.
Yep.
Life is messy. Relationships are messy. But the thing is, we clean up messes. We get organized. We figure out, oh, this is not serving me anymore. I need to figure out how to communicate this. And this was something my sister said to me really interesting on Sunday. We do a call every Sunday. It's really important for me and my siblings to stay together and connected. But she said, you know what? If you want someone to do something for you, you probably need to ask them. And I was like, yeah, otherwise your expectations don't get met. And unmet expectations or crossed expectations, if they're unclarified, you will create friction and frustration.
100%.
Oh my goodness. So it looks like a story came up in your head.
Well, I just had a thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something we talk about that, especially when we're in a relationship with someone we know well and we're very in sync and aligned, we often expect that they have a superpower, which is to read our mind and know what we want and what we need. And it's when we take 100% responsibility, it's our job to be super clear with what we need and what we want and not expect them to be a mind reader. Because the actual superpower in your relationship is being willing to be vulnerable. Right. And like asking for help, regardless of who it is you're asking, can feel really vulnerable. Like, I'm not able to do this myself, or I'm struggling with something. It takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to raise your hand and ask for help and like be clear on what it is you need from somebody else. And sometimes we're so unwilling to lean into that little bit of discomfort that we don't have those conversations. So we do expect the mind reading. That creates friction, unmet expectations. We start telling ourselves stories that they don't care because they're not meeting our needs. And then all of a sudden we've got this like snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger of all this friction and resentment and scorekeeping. And if you cared, you would do this for me, but I actually haven't told you that I even want this. So how are you supposed to know? And so Layla Hormozi has said it, and I just love the way she says it, which is you think an uncomfortable conversation is hard. Wait till you see the result of not having that conversation. And it's like, yeah, that is they suck a little bit in the moment. They're tough, but it's like any exercise. Like once you build the muscle and you tailor your delivery to the person, you can lean into those uncomfortable conversations and completely transform the trajectory of your relationship because you can be honest and be vulnerable and share together.
Yeah, you can grow through this connection, but you have to give the gift of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another gift I think that's super underrated that we've kind of touched on a little bit is benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt is another huge gift that, because like we're going to tailor the message and sometimes we're going to get it a little bit wrong because we're human beings, we make those mistakes. But if you've got this relationship and you've built that rapport and you've built that level of trust, you can, yeah, I know he didn't mean it that way. And you give the benefit of the doubt and then it leads to the conversation with the vulnerability. But benefit of the doubt is such an underrated gift you can give your relationships.
Yeah.
So good. Guys, thank you so much for playing full out. I love hearing and connecting with you guys. One of the things, everyone that's listening, is if you want to be part of Craig and Meredith's group, what we're doing, we are here with the Final Percent Network. You definitely want to connect with us. We have an app called TFP Connect. It's so good. They're on there. I'm on there. We're always looking for amazing opportunities to connect deeper. They have an amazing coaching platform. Will you guys give us like a little 10, 15 second place where people can find you online so it's easy to stay connected?
Yeah, for sure. We have a website called roadoflifecoaching.com. So you can find us there. Our podcast is there. All of our stuff is there. We're most fun, I would say, on Instagram. So we're at Meredith and Craig on Instagram. And then even within the finalpercent.com, we have a mastermind in there for the Infinite Relationship Mastermind, where we're helping people transform all of the important relationships in their life with themselves, with their partner, with their health, with their stress, all the things.
All the things. So keep drinking the purple Kool-Aid, if you will. I absolutely love these guys. I appreciate you so much for pouring into the audience so much of your life experiences, the things that you've not only learned, but you've embodied in your relationship. I think this is one of the things that you guys do really well. You don't just talk about relationships. You have a great relationship and you're constantly developing and getting better at it. So thanks for being an example marriage, not just an example of what to do, if that makes sense. You're like, hey, this is who to be. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So thank you so much for being here. Any final words or things that are like, oh, I wanted to share this, or any questions I didn't ask you that you're like, man, I had this thought. I wanted to make sure I leave one little bow at the end of this.
I would just say thanks for having us and for what you do and how you do it, the storytelling and the magic that you bring to the world with your podcast and just your general like badassness. I mean, I'm sorry if I swore and wasn't supposed to, but I just really appreciate you and all the things that you bring to the community and to the world. And I'm just excited for you and your growth with Levelin Up. And I just want to say thanks for having us on and be part of the journey.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys. I want to make sure that our listeners know this as well. I've got my 3 reasons stage fright costs and why you must fix it. If you want that book, just DM me. Guys, I am giving it away for free right now. That's not going to be like that forever, but as of right now, if you're listening to this, you're like, you know what? I really like this conversation. I want to have more conversations like this. I want to stop having fear inhibit me from going and connecting in a deep, meaningful way. That's why I do what I do. Your story is not just something you share on stage. Every time you're in front of somebody, every time you connect, you have an opportunity to have your experiences and your expertise be able to make an impact on somebody else and in their life. So have those little thought babies get, in different people's minds and have them continue to propagate, right? And promote all these things so that we can have personal growth be in the hands of more and more people. Our whole mission is to be able to put personal growth in the hands of everyone on planet Earth. Big goal, absolutely, but it's something that we are passionate about and we're going to be doing day in, day out until we don't have breath in our lungs anymore. So thank you so much, Craig and Meredith. Love you more. Yes, I got you. I appreciate you so much. I am so thankful for all you guys do. And like and subscribe if this was valuable for you guys. Share it if this is something that you are like, man, this was so good. I want to have more people hear these and connect with it. So God bless, guys, and we'll see you.